So upcoming Friday nights, me and the degenerate boys that we are, we're coming back with the betting show.
You look at the way he bounces off tacklers, the way that he keeps his eyes downfield, his vision, his ability to find holes, his pass catching ability, right? Because he had.
In my lifetime, I'd put him at probably around the 2 area, with again the only other person up there being King Ricky.
Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams at the 111.
Yeah.
So just hit us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of BSing Sports here on the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. With me this week on our football prediction show is the Candle King himself, Chris Gucci. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good. How are you, Bill?
Good. And then obviously we have Jared the Bear down there on the bottom. They did a nice recap show on Wednesday. Thank you to both of you for taking care of that while Jake wasn't unavailable.
Yeah, no problem. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
We actually had the most viewers, I think, that we've had doing a Wednesday show with me and Gucci, so it was a good time. And then,
Good. Yeah, I noticed you guys went for like an hour and a half. That's solid time. Good job.
Yeah, we're yappers.
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know if Jared the Bear down there is watching the same thing we are, or Gucci and I are, but we do have the Georgia and Ole Miss game on. So if one of us gets excited or maybe doesn't get excited, you'll know why.
We need a lot of short runs and a lot of sacks. No incompletions. Just let this clock run. No scores. Field goals.
What was the over
I
under
want
on that?
Georgia to win. I want Georgia to win.
Oh, I don't care who wins this. 55 is the over under, and I took the under.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
you can do that. Yeah, that'll be fine.
I mean, they could still win 23-22.
Stop it.
Stop
it right now.
Stop it. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, as I said on the to kick off the show here, is we've got our NFL prediction show coming up. Oh, I got to add shit. Hold on. I got to fix this because you weren't on, so I didn't do this correctly.
Wow, Bolton.
Wow. My bad.
Stir me up, Bolton. You guys talk for a second.
All right. This week should be interesting.
Fumble!
As you can see,
Fumble! Sorry. Georgia just fumbled at the 20.
Honestly, fuck Georgia, because we know what the real game is tonight. What are we doing? Come on.
Easy.
Anybody in the chat watching, if you can guess what number 7 this is, I'll make Jake get you a football card.
Tyrann Mathieu.
I said the chat, damn it.
Oh.
He did say chat. I also knew who it was, and I did not say anything.
Damn.
I'll give you a hint. It's not Tyrann Mathieu.
Oh, I thought it was. All right, good for you then. All right, let's move. Let's do this. Let's pull it up and let's get started. Let's talking about it. Let's move these faces around. So here we go. Actually, I'm going to move the two of you so people know whose picks are actually whose. Yeah, so obviously Thursday night football game, Bengals at Ravens, was a really, really good game. I liked watching it. It was exciting the whole game. I love when a game is exciting the whole time, you know.
Oh, yeah. Great game.
Obviously, the Ravens win by 1 point, so they don't cover, and it did go over the 52.5 mark. So the first game we have on our docket this week is the Giants visiting the Panthers. Well, it's in Germany, so not really. Giants are favored by 5.5 points. 41.5 is the over/under. All three of us took the Giants. I took the under because I don't think either offense is good. You guys want to talk about why you think you're going with the over?
I'm just taking the over here solely because 41 is kind of low. I think Malik Neighbors will still get his. I like Tracy in the backfield for the Giants. I'm not very confident in the Panthers per se, but I think the Giants will probably put up 28 and the Panthers will probably hover around that 20 spot. So that's why I think it's going to go over.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing around the score wise. I think it's like 20 to 24, somewhere around there. My reasoning for taking the over, I do think Giants win this. I do think it's maybe a field goal game. The whole reasoning that it's going over is because the Saints defense is very bad and the Giants defense is right behind them, right there in the same, tier of defenses. So the Saints put up 23 points, 22 points, something like that last week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they can put up 23 points on the Saints, I feel like they can put up 23 points on the Giants. And conversely, the Giants on paper, they don't have a bad offense. They just don't have any good coaching. So usually these out of country games are wild and there's random scoring here and there. So
you don't know what
I like that. Yeah, I like the over.
I still feel confident in the under. I was looking at like a 20-17 type game. 17-13 type game. Like that's the kind of game I think it's going to be because, like we said, it is in Germany, so sometimes they become high scoring. But I think the average is that they usually stay low scoring games. So I feel pretty confident that the Giants don't cover the 5.5 point spread because again, not very prolific on offense. But that the two teams together can't get to the 41.5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving
It
to
was Patrick Peterson, though, by the way, Mike.
Thank you, Mike Virginia, for being in the chat. I appreciate you being there. Anybody else who's out there on
That's what
X?
gave it away. It's the big old Cardinals flag in the back.
Everybody over on X, if you get a chance, please go to YouTube and subscribe. We need subs. We need subs. We need subs. You can come back to X. I got no problems with it, but please go to YouTube and sub. We really appreciate you. Moving forward, we got the Patriots visiting the Bears. Bears are favored by 6.5 points. 39.5 is the over/under. Gucci, go ahead.
Yeah, the Patriots defense isn't as bad as we thought. As the year continues to, chuck on forward, the Bears offense is better than the Bears defense. So I'm taking the over. I think this is another 24-20 game. Bears not covering, the over hits, Bears win.
Yeah, I mean, the over is so low that like it's hard. Like anything under 40, it's really hard for me to say. Apparently not because I have a game later, but still really hard for me to say that it's not going to go over. And 39.5. I was looking at a 21-24 game. I think it'll be kind of like that because Drake May has played well.
Yeah.
So the Bears have to be in a. Thank you very much, Mike Virginia, for subbing. We appreciate you. So I think it's gonna be a small shootout type situation there in Chicago, and I just think the Bears come out on top. Jer?
I have the Bears covering just because I think they're going to play a little pissed off after last week. They got humiliated against the Cardinals. I expect a big game from Rome Odunze. He's been having a very nice connection with Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams hasn't thrown but one touchdown pass in the last 2 weeks. And that one touchdown pass came with 2 minutes left on the clock against Washington, and they still lost that game.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to figure it out. I think this is a do or die for Matt Eberflus. I have an eerie suspicion that the Bears are going to come out. Their defense is going to play well enough that this is going to be the best defense that Drake May has seen. And I do think that the Bears offense will start clicking and scoring touchdowns eventually. And I think this is going to be the get right week for them.
Okay. I like it. Let's talk about this kid Jackson Dart real quick. I know it's not a college show, but
he just ran over that man. Damn. I don't know if y'all saw my face, and I was like, this dude just took off for 15 yards.
Yeah, no, that's what I was nodding at. I saw your face and I was nodding at it.
Yeah, that was a nasty run by Jackson Dart. I don't expect that other guy, but I like it.
Sorry, but going back to our prediction show, we're moving on to the Bills visiting the Colts. Buffalo is favored on the road at 4.5 points. 45.5 is the over/under. All three of us took the Bills, so Bolton, go first.
Yeah, the Bills are a wagon right now. They're the second best team, arguably the first best team in the AFC. I put them over the Chiefs. I bet you if they were to play the Chiefs today, the Bills would come out on top. I think the only team better than the Bills in the AFC are probably the Ravens. I think that 4.5 is very doable considering this Colts team has no Michael Pittman. So they're beat up. I don't expect the loud house, as they call it, at the Colts. I don't expect that to be a huge factor if the Bills get out early, which I see them doing. And you're just going to take the crowd out of it, and they're going to win this game by, I'm going to say, 10 points.
Okay, Gucci.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think we talked about it last night on our DGen show. This is actually one of our picks. Actually, me and Bolton both took this game. We both took the Bills to cover. Georgia just dropped the interception. The Bills are just too hot right now. Like the Bills mantra this season has been next man up. If you look at what Josh Allen's doing, he's passing any and everybody. He's averaging 9 different receivers a game. So it's anybody's week on the receivers. That's why I don't like playing any of their receivers on fantasy. But I think the Colts are slumping. AR-15 being AR-15 this year, he's kind of let everyone down. And with Joe Flacco stepping up, he's not that savior that we thought he was going to be, like he was with the Browns. So I just think the Bills easily cover this. This is definitely this is like a 30-10 game.
Well, that's the thing with these old quarterbacks. Joe Flacco can be your savior for one game, but eventually all those nicks and bruises at 40 years old hurt a little bit more. And then you can't ask Joe Flacco to do what he did in the beginning of the season, for a prolonged period of time. That's why he's a backup now. He is older. He is supposed to be that mentor. He's not supposed to be starting, 14 games a year.
No, and I'm right there with you. The only reason I took the Bills not to cover is because the Colts have been keeping games close. I do realize that they are without Michael Pittman. But in addition to the Colts keeping games close, the Bills seem to be struggling putting teams away.
Yeah.
So 4.5, I was really on the fence about it. I said they probably win somewhere in the 5 to 7 range. They probably do, but I took the no cover because of the persistence of the Colts and because of the lack of putting teams away by the Bills. I think they've only won 2 games this year by multiple scores. And that's alarming for me. And I don't disagree that I would put the Bills above the Chiefs. I most certainly would put the Bills above the Chiefs, but I think the cream of the crop in the AFC is the Ravens right now.
Yeah.
Moving forward, Jake is not on the show to talk about how the Broncos are going to lose to the Chiefs. Kansas City is favored by 8.5 points. 41.5 is the over-under. Bolton, you get to go because you took the under.
I did. So this Chiefs team is squeaking out wins every way possible. If you give Patrick Mahomes the ball, the last drive of the game, he's going to win. The Broncos historically play Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs really well. So I don't think that they're going to cover the 8.5 spread. I do think they win, but I do think that this is going to be a game where it's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of punts, a lot of field position, and it's going to come down to the end of the game, and Patrick Mahomes is going to make Patrick Mahomes plays and kick a field goal at the end of the game from Harrison Butker to win it. That's just
see, I actually didn't think it would be a Harrison Butker field goal kick that would do it to the win. I thought the Chiefs would win by 7. So no cover there, right? I thought the Chiefs would win by 7. I took the over because Bo Nix has looked good, and Patrick Mahomes is going to have to actually be in a shootout. And I really liked the combination of DeAndre Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes last week. It was critical to them winning against the Buccaneers, and I think that continues. I think they get Xavier working again a little bit, and I do think they come out on top. But I think it's a 7-point game, and I took the over for those reasons.
Do you think it's going to be a shootout though, considering both teams are top 5 defenses?
I do. I still think so.
Yeah.
So let me give you the reason. So I took Chiefs cover, the 8.5-point spread, and the over. I do think this is going to be a lopsided victory for the Chiefs. Like we have all said, or you two have said so far covering this game, that I'm gonna say Baltimore, Kansas City is winning, like squeaking out these games very close. I think this is the week where they kind of separate themselves. Patrick Mahomes separates themselves from like that norm that has been this year for them. They are still undefeated, so let's not get that twisted. So they find ways to win. Yes, obviously, it's fucking the Chiefs. My reasoning with the cover is that the Broncos had an 8.5-point spread that they really failed to cover last week against the Ravens, and you're facing the top 2 out of the 3 teams back to back. You got fucking blown out. Nothing on your team last week looked good other than Bo Nix catching a touchdown.
Philly special.
Scum special. But I think this is a get right, get back to who we are as the Kansas City, not we as in me, but the Chiefs are telling themselves that. I think Xavier Worthy has himself a game. Their run game is still prominent even without Pacheco being there. They pulling guys off the fucking retirement homes and just inserting them, and they're just running for over 100 yards and a touchdown a game. Their defense is still really fucking good. They just got Uche over from the Patriots, and it's his second week with the team. I think that pass rush is going to be even better with Chris Jones in the middle as well. You have stars on all 3 levels of that defense. And that the Broncos don't win games against good defenses. They win games against bad defenses.
So I will say that if the Chiefs are going to cover this game, it's going to come down to Chris Jones in the middle, because the number one way to get in a rookie quarterback's head is to have pressure in his face right in front of him, not so much coming off the edges. But when you have a 6'7" man a foot away from you, it's terrifying. And that is what gets rookie quarterbacks more than anything.
It goes beyond Chris Jones. Chris Jones obviously can be a force down the middle. You have Carl Aptis on one side. You have now Uche. You still have Nick Bolton there. You still have Trent McDuffie. They have stars all over the place on defense. That their defense is like hitching up together and they're coming together. Their offense is only getting better, and it's scary because they're still fucking undefeated. Like it's not a good time for the rest of the league.
That's fair. That's fair. Spagnuolo over there calling good defensive schemes up. I agree with all of it. I still just don't think they cover 8.5. It seems like a big spread to me. But yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, right? No, that's fine. Let's see. We got the Falcons, another division game. Falcons visiting the Saints. Atlanta is favored on the road at 3.5 points. 46.5 is the over-under. Not a surprise. All three of us took the Falcons. Little surprised that Bolton doesn't think they'll cover the 3.5 point spread. But Gucci, you can go first.
Yeah, this one's plain and simple. The Falcons are going to score 24 points in the first half, and then it's going to be a fucking yawn fest in the second half. I think the score is going to be 24-10. Final. Yeah, just my thing is, other than Alvin Kamara, the Saints have nobody. Derek Carr's not decent anymore. I mean, I don't think you could ever say Derek Carr was good, but if you did have that argument, you're like, well, now he's not even decent. Their backup's not any better. So, yeah. I
mean, you take away Shaheed, you take away Olave, and that offense is extremely one-dimensional. It's very bland, and it's all going through Alvin Kamara. So you throw a safety and a linebacker on him, and then it bottles up the entire offense. So that's why I also took the Falcons. I do have them covering the 3.5 point spread because, as you pointed out, I think the Falcons win handily. So much so that to the point that maybe even Kirk Cousins doesn't play in the fourth quarter. Like, I think it's that handy of a victory here. So please, Bolton, tell us why you think it's close.
I just hedged my bet here. Realistically, this was just a hedge. If you watched yesterday's show, I actually have the Falcons covering in terms of money and keeping my streak alive, which 15-0, if anybody's been paying attention on NFL. So I do think the Falcons are going to cover handily, but there are a couple of things that made me put not cover here, and this is what's worrisome. I've said it week in and week out every time this happens. If you get a new quarterback or a new head coach midway through the season, your team's going to play out of your mind, right? For one week, they're going to come back down eventually to earth, but they just fired their head coach, right? Everybody's going to play out of their mind so that way they can keep a job next year. And it's a divisional game where the Saints have nothing to lose but throw the kitchen sink at the Falcons and just be, assholes. Those two things are what make me hedge this bet here. I do think the Falcons do kill them, but I would not be surprised, considering I've been preaching it all year, that that's usually how these things turn out.
That's fair. I like the hedge bet on that theory. I do. Ken Brandt, thanks for telling me that the Flyers scored a goal. I appreciate you. Seriously, if you guys are watching the show, and feel free to jump in the chat, ask questions about fantasy football. We'll give you our opinions on them. Talk about who you think is going to win the games. We're here for it. We'll interact with the crowd. So please feel free to get in the chat there with us. 49ers at the Buccaneers. San Francisco is favored again on the road at 5.5 points. The 51.5 over under on this one. I guess I'll go first. I haven't gone first in a while. Listen, I like the Buccaneers and how they looked a couple weeks ago. I did, and then all of a sudden Mike Evans and Chris Godwin go down, and that team is going to struggle. Sterling Shepard's doing everything that he can, so good on him, but he's just not as good as those other guys. Kate Otton's doing everything he can at tight end. He's just not as good as those other guys. Baker Mayfield is going to continue to struggle, and the 49ers have a really good defense.
Last week they didn't have Jalen McMillan either, and he's questionable this week, but we're hoping.
That's correct. Yeah, Jalen McMillan, yeah. So I think this is kind of I hedged it. I did a Ryan thing here because the Buccaneers could come out and surprise us. So I hedged it a little bit, but I do think it's a little bit of a shootout, not a ton of a shootout. I expect Christian McCaffrey to really make a difference in the way that Niners offense looks. Not that Mason did anything wrong. He's just not the athlete that Christian McCaffrey is. It's just cut and dry. It just is what it is, right? So I got the Niners, and I got again hedged it a little bit. No cover, the 5.5 point spread, but I think the over is probably a given. Gucci.
Yeah, definitely Niners are winning this game. They're just more talented all around. They have less people hurt for another reason. But I went with the no cover over. So the no cover is because of what the Bucs did last week against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They went out there and almost fucking won the game. They don't go for two, so they lose the game. But I mean, you still covered your spread up until that point. But the Bucs are just too good this year, just matching up, they have a lot of good like schemes and matchups every single week. It seems like Baker's just going out there and just doing whatever the hell he wants and just balling out. So
Great
that's the
coaching.
reason why. That's the reason why I don't have the Niners covering. If they do cover, because I am a little worried about the 5.5 point spread, it's because Christian McCaffrey takes off late, and kind of does a Saquon-esque type of run, and they win by 7. But I'll take those odds. I think CMC is eased into this game a little bit. I don't know if he's going to be on snap count or anything, but I do think CMC is not going to be as big. I think a big of a factor as we think he's going to be because he is CMC, but he has been out for 10 weeks. Hasn't played it down yet. So I think this is the slow week.
I actually read something earlier that Shanahan is like no training wheels. Like
that's scary.
He's in. So
that's scary because a month ago we were talking about how he
might not even play, right? Like, yeah. And all of a sudden it's like no training wheels. If he says he's good, the doctors say he's good. He's our running back. End of story.
This is also
his Achilles is going to pop, and we're going to be like, I should have sat out the whole season.
Yeah.
This is also
Hawkins
the same
does
team.
point out to Gucci's point that they took Kansas City to overtime last week with those guys at wide receiver. So, you never know what can happen. Bolden?
I agree. I can see this going either way. I took the 49ers to cover just because I think the Bucs are going to struggle with the Niners front four. I do think that the Bucs injuries are going to catch up to them. They played lights out and gave it everything they had last week. I guarantee you if this game goes to overtime and they score with no time left, they're going to go for 2. But I still think that the 49ers with Christian McCaffrey should come out and cover this pretty handily. I think the 49ers are starting to get in the right direction, hopefully. Well, actually not as a Cardinals fan, but back to what they should be. I should be playing as, I guess. Somebody got rocked. I heard it on my ear.
That was
I watched it happen. Carson Beck,
I heard it and I was like, Jesus. I have it at minimal volume.
And a 15-yard penalty that
rocked.
could have ended the drive, and now the drive keeps going because of a face mask penalty.
Oh. Hate that shit.
They said false start, but it was definitely an indication of a face mask.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gucci, you sound like you had one more thing you wanted to say on that one. You got it?
Yeah. So about the 49ers and talking about the doctors saying, oh, he's good to go. He's going on CMC. It's also the same team week 1 that like held that information that CMC wasn't playing. And then Jordan Mason goes on live TV after the best game of his career and goes, I've known since Friday. So, it's like they could be saying, if he's healthy, he's going, but it just could be a scare tactic for the planning on the Buccaneers defense. But I just don't trust anything that comes out of Shanahan's mouth in the press this year.
That's fair. I like that. Let's move. We got the Steelers visiting the Commanders. Commanders are home favorites at 3.5 points. 45.5 is the over-under. The Commanders, who have been surprisingly good this year. Jaden Daniels looks legit. Yeah. You can go first, Gucci.
So I'm looking at this game now, and I don't like the over because I'm pretty sure I am a little, slow in the head sometimes, and looked at that number and thought it was a number, not that one. So, so we'll just chalk the L on the over there, because I really like the under on this game, strictly because the Steelers have a really good defense as they always do, under Mike Tomlin. The Commanders, yes, they've been winning games. They shouldn't have won last week against the Bears, 2 weeks ago. Sorry. There's just the nature of these games that have been going for the Commies have been way too close for comfort as of recent. And if they want to show that they deserve to be in first place in the NFC East, they should win this game handily by 6 points or more in my eyes. But I just like the under too much because the Steelers don't really put up a lot of points historically this season. So that's the only thing that's holding me back. But it could very well be a 27-24 game. And
I think you're forgetting the addition all-star wideout Mike Williams for the Steelers. Did I put enough sarcasm on that? I think I did.
Mike Williams. He's done great.
Yeah, he's done great, man.
No, I mean, for me, it's I think I don't want to say I hedged my bet because I do think it's a 3-point game. I think the Commanders still win the game. But you pointed it out and you hit the nail right on the head, right? Those Steelers defenses have been good for 30 years. Like, year in and year out, the Steelers defenses have just been
30.
good.
I mean, 60.
Yeah, good point. 60 years. Yeah, no, you're not kidding though. You're really not. I took the under because it's going to be a low scoring game. I think honestly, it kind of sort of looks a lot like that Bears Commanders game last week. I don't think it'll be a last second Hail Mary. But I've got the Commanders winning. But obviously for them not to cover and for the under. Bolton.
Yeah, it's going to be a field goal game. Maybe everybody's had a little bit of recency bias with the Steelers team because they were on a bye week last week. Let's not forget that this is a sorry. This is a perennial above 500 team. This defense is just good enough to keep winning games. Russell Wilson is not going to turn the ball over. And I expect the Commanders to struggle offensively because there is no Brian, the running back, Brian Robinson. No Brian Robinson this week. It's only going to be Eckler. And, as Eckler said at the beginning of the season, he doesn't want to carry the ball 30 times between the tackles. So they're not going to have a run game. They're going up against a really good Steelers defense that's not going to give you back the ball. I expect them to struggle mightily on the offensive side for the Commanders. They're going to have to squeak out a last-second field goal. So give me the under and the no cover.
Yeah, you basically spoke my brain into words. Like that's how I looked at this game. Hawkins points out that the Commanders did just get Marshawn Lattimore. That doesn't really scare me as much as people think it should. Like he's a bit older, lost a step. Kind of reminds me of Darius Slay a little bit in that aspect. Older, lost a step. That's how I feel about Lattimore.
Still better than Slay, though.
Ken Brandt says Eckler is hurt as well. Can we get a confirmation on that?
Eckler's playing. He may be banged up, but he's playing.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate that. But yeah. Again, if you guys are over on X, please go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Hey, Bear Fan Pete, it's good to see you.
What's up, PD?
Please go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We need the subs. We need the subs. We need the subs. We do giveaways all the time. The Candle King himself gives out candles. We give out baseball cards. We do a lot of stuff for the Super Bowl. We have a thing going on where we're giving away a jersey of your choice if you are selected. So please go to YouTube and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. We all would really appreciate it. And thank you very much. Next, we have the Vikings, who are on a 2-game losing streak, visiting the Jaguars. Minnesota is favored by 4.5 points. 47.5 is the over-under. All three of us took the Vikings. You guys want to play rock, paper, scissors for who goes first? I'm just kidding.
Bolton.
I got it. All right, Vikings, second best team in the NFC, in my opinion. I think that Jacksonville is one loss away from Doug Peterson hitting the can. So I think that the Vikings are going to come out here. They're going to win handily. The Jaguars have started slow every game where they're going to come out and it's going to be 22-0 at halftime like it was last week, and they're going to slowly claw their way back into this game. I don't think the Vikings are going to let them claw back into this game. I think if it's 22-0 at half, I think the Vikings are going to keep their foot on the throttle, and they're not going to let Jacksonville get back into this. So that's why I have the over, solely because the Vikings offense is clicking. I like what Jordan Addison is starting to get slowly more involved. They're ramping up Hawkinson. I just think that this team is moving in the right direction, and Jags are not. The Jags are kind of falling apart. They're injured all over the place. Christian Kirk's out for the year. Brian Thomas Jr. is hurt a little bit. He's banged up with a rib injury. Mac Jones is playing this game instead of Trevor Lawrence. Yep. So I don't expect this game to be close, and I expect the Vikings to cover 80% of whatever is needed for this over to hit.
Yeah, Gucci.
Yeah, the over is just way too high for me. 47.5 is way too much. I don't think the Jags score more than 10 points this game, and I don't have the Vikings scoring 37 or 38. That's the reason for the under. You just talked about it. T-Law isn't playing, and not that T-Law moves the needle for the offense this year so far of what we've seen, but I mean, nonetheless, he's a starting quarterback in that organization. So no starting quarterback for the Jags. Yes, they are at home. You're usually given 2.5, 3 points if you're at home. This should be a 7-point game at worst. Nonetheless, I have the Vikings covering. You talked about it already. Their offense is just I feel like they're getting better and better every week with the subtraction of the Detroit game a couple weeks ago, or last week, whenever that was. But the Vikings they just have too many stars. Kind of the same reason I have the Chiefs, covering, same type of, thinking there. just too many stars on too many levels for an inferior team to even be close in this one.
That's fair. I full transparency, I kind of wish I had not put no cover on this one. It wasn't like I was hedging my bet. I just forgot Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing. And much to Ryan's comments last week about the Jaguars hanging around with the Eagles, it's a situation where that team does hang around. They've lost 7 straight now by 5 points or less. So, I mean, 4.5 right there at 5 points. I took the no cover because of that. Again, full transparency, forgot Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing. So I kind of wish I didn't go there. The under, same thing. Just don't think there's going to be enough points scored. The Vikings might score 21, but as you pointed out there, Gucci, I think the Jaguars don't score more than 10, especially with Trevor Lawrence not playing. So wish I could change it, but Vikings no cover in the under. Let's see. We got the Titans visiting the Chargers. Those of you who are joining us who have not heard me say this in the last 5 minutes, please go to YouTube and subscribe. We appreciate you very much. Titans are visiting the Chargers. Chargers are home favorites at 8.5 points. 37.5 is the over-under. Gucci, you took the over, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, I did take the over. I fully expect the Chargers to put up 30 in this game and the Titans to put up at least 10. The Titans can score 10 points on just about anybody if you look at their game logs. They played some good teams this season, even though with their offense not being anywhere near good. Tony Pollard has been a force, in that offense, that he basically is that offense. Mayo Boy is back. Starting QB this week. So I don't think this is going to be a low scoring affair by any means. I just think the Chargers are going to put up 30, and I think 7 or 8.5 is just way too much to cover.
Okay. So
did I contradict myself? I
did. Yeah,
misclicked. So I have a bet. Oh my god, I was thinking of my bet. So okay, on here, that's a hedge bet. But in real life, I'm sorry. I definitely did not mean to not cover. I definitely did not mean not cover.
So to a lot of your points, I've got the Chargers. Oh, he just threw a pick. Carson Beck did.
Bang. Yep.
Game.
That'll do it. Yeah, that'll just about do it.
Under hits, cash it.
Good for you, Ole Miss. Like, seriously, I'm a Bulldogs fan, but good for you. Carson Beck just looked like crap this whole game. He really did, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's looked like crap week in and week out, realistically.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, yeah.
Well, he can't see the middle of the field. His eyes are too wide.
All that money, fame, and females he's got, just totally lost love for the game, it looks
what
like.
What a crap ball.
Told you he can't see the middle. He cannot see the middle.
Oh, it did tipped, yeah. Okay, well, a little bit less on him, but still, bad time for that. Yeah, for a lot of the reasons that you just said, I'm taking the Chargers here. I do think the Chargers win. I think it's handily. I think it's by at least 10 points. And I mean, I'm saying that very like, absolutely. I think it's a 10-point or more victory. Because the Chargers have started playing vintage John Harbaugh football, right? Quarterback doesn't have to do too much. They're going to continue to run the rock, and their defense is going to be good. So, yeah, give me the Chargers to cover handily, and then the under because, again, Chargers aren't going to give up a ton of points, and I think that they also only score 28. So, yeah, that's where I'm at on that one. Bolton.
Yep, I think that so if you watched yesterday's sports betting, I have the Chargers covering 7.5, but 8.5 is a lot. I still think that this game is going to hit under is kind of the important part. I think that the Chargers are just going to run the ball, and run the ball. Both of these defenses are pretty good. It looks like Will Levis is back and starting this week, so we're guaranteed a pick six at some point during the game.
Yes, you are.
Don't know when it's coming, but it'll be there. I think that this game's just going to be under because it's just going to be the most boring game of the week. Nobody is going to tune into this game. It's probably getting blacked out everywhere if you don't have a ticket or live in the Tennessee or LA area.
It's gonna be more boring than the game overseas. I get the Giants.
They put that one at 9 a.m. because they know nobody's going to watch it. All right.
Okay.
That's how they do that. They're like, oh, you want a primetime game? Yeah, you get Germany. Oh, sweet. What time's that? 9 a.m.
Yeah. No,
the only one on the slate. Yeah, I'm not watching football at 9 a.m.
All right, we're going to move on to the next game. We have the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the Dallas Cowboys. Philadelphia is 7.5-point favorites. 41.5 is the over-under. I'm going to let Gucci go first, but then there is a topic that I want to talk about with Gucci. But let us get our picks out, and then I'll ask him some questions. This had to hurt you. This had to hurt you.
Fuck the Eagles, man. This isn't all right, so this isn't me saying so I chose Eagles not to cover because it's still a divisional game, even though it's gonna be a fucking blowout. It's gonna be a fucking 35.
No, Cooper Rush is 5-1 in his starts.
Don't care. Don't care. That was fucking 3 years ago when Dak was out. When we had a good OC that
Can you
with
stop?
the right personnel. Man, this one's I already told Bill I'm not watching this fucking game tomorrow. Which is gonna be a first for me in a very long time. Yeah, my Pookie Dak, just came out and said that he's having season-ending surgery tomorrow or Monday in New York. Even if Dak was playing, man, I would still choose the Eagles not to cover, but probably the over, just because of the heated rivalry. But so my thing, off topic a second, but it's still on the Eagles Cowboys. How do you feel about our players intermingling and having podcasts together, like what we're doing now? That's not very rivalry-esque of them.
It's weird. Like, this is also the first time, like, obviously we live in a new day and age. Social media is like a huge thing, right? The players, while it is a rivalry, it's obviously a rivalry for the fan base. Like, the players are still players. Yeah. Players who play for the Eagles will play for the Cowboys. Players who played for the Cowboys will come play for the Eagles, unless you're Brent Selleck. That's the only one that flat out said he wouldn't. Like, he's literally the only one. So, like, overall, like, it's still a rivalry, but it's a rivalry for the fans. It's not a war amongst those guys in the locker rooms. It's just not. So it is what it is. I mean, I would prefer that they didn't do it mid-season. Like, I think that's freaking stupid. Yeah. But it is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, don't tune into this game. If nobody watches this game, it doesn't count. So
sorry to tell you, I'll be watching it.
No, you can't watch it. It's
Bolton, you can go, and then I'll go, and then I'll follow it up with some questions.
Yeah, I think Cooper Rush is not a bad backup quarterback. He plays pretty well when he's in. He's played pretty well against the Eagles before, even though I think he lost that game. I think that when you just have a divisional game, that 7.5 is just too much to cover. I really think that the Eagles are probably going to overlook Cooper Rush. I think they're going to come out and probably get punched in the mouth early, and then the Eagles are going to realize that they got punched in the mouth by a JV team and that they should start playing, normal football, and Saquon Barkley is going to do his. But I don't think that they cover 7.5. I think it's a touchdown game or less. So I think it's going to be a shootout, but I would not be surprised if Cowboys opening drive, they march down the field and have to wake up the Eagles and say, hey, we're still here.
I'd be surprised because they have yet to do that at all this season on any first drive of the game. The Cowboys have this stupid thing this year where they win the coin toss and take the ball and then go 3 and out. And that just fucking pisses me the fuck off.
Hey, so listen, the Eagles were there too. The Eagles were there too.
Yeah, the problem is you have the talent around, all right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
Georgia's definitely cooked. 30-yard run from the quarterback there.
This is over.
Yeah, that game's over. I took the Eagles. I took them not to cover. I took them not to cover because A, it's a division rivalry game. B, it's in Dallas. C, the Eagles outside of 6 quarters against the Giants and the Bengals have played down to their opponent. And as a result, I think this is another one of those scenarios where they look unprepared in the first quarter. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they come out and they smack the Cowboys in the mouth. I do. But I think they won't. I think they will look extremely unprepared, and this game in the first quarter is going to look a lot closer than it really ever should be because, to Gucci's point, we have the talent. We're a healthy team now. The only person that's out is Jordan Mailata. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great left tackle, but like he's the only guy on the IR right now or on the injured list right now. Everybody else is a full participant. And I mean, that goes back to coaching. I can bitch about Sirianni as the coach all I want. The dude does win, but I can bitch about him all I want. Anyway, so I've got the Eagles, but not to cover for all those reasons I just gave. And it's an under because Dallas is hurting. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is playing, but he looked real rough last week. Ferguson has looked like a shell of the tight end that he was last year. Brandon Cooks is obviously out. They go get Jonathan Mingo for a 4th round. I don't get it.
Stupid.
You could have had D-Hop. You could have had D-Hop.
You could have had a lot of fucking people, Jerry. You could have.
But yeah. So I'm sticking with the under here. Now, listen, there is one small scenario in my head where I think the Eagles put up 38 and then the Cowboys get to 10 or 17. I didn't feel that way when I made my pick. So yeah, but I want to go into our questions. So anyway, yeah, I've got the Eagles to not cover in the under. Gucci, you and I gave you a very, very quick question of it before Bolton even got on, so he'll get to hear your natural reaction as well. Because Dak Prescott has been announced out for the rest of the year, and because the Eagles are 6-2, the Commanders are 7-2, they're both likely to win this week. Why would you not see what you might have in Trey Lance? What's your thoughts on going with Cooper Rush over Trey Lance?
So the reasoning, and I know Jerry's fucking brain. All right, this dude's been in my head for the last 28 years of my life.
Wednesday too.
Yeah. So the reasoning why Jerry will not play Trey Lance at any cost, unless it comes down to it, obviously if fucking Cooper Rush goes down, the reasoning is that Jerry does not want to seem like an idiot for not playing him when he had the opportunity to play him, because you gave up a 4th round to get him.
Mm-hmm.
You're spending about $5 million to not play him. So those two things right there. Who costs about $5 million in the offseason that now is on a powerhouse AFC team? Derrick Henry. So there's a lot of criticism about Derrick Henry not being signed when he was in Jerry's backyard because he's from Dallas. And if
Derrick Henry was from Georgia.
No, he's from, or he lives in Texas. So I think he's from like the DFW area.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not football. He's in Dallas.
Okay.
Like, that's the first place he went after the end of last season. He's like, we're going to Dallas. That's why all the Dallas fans were like, we're getting Derrick Henry. We have to. It's written in the fucking stars. He's coming home type of thing. So another main reason is Trey Lance in the preseason. We played him in the preseason, and he looked fucking awful against the backups. But for some reason, this is a contract year for Trey Lance. He will be gone next season, without a doubt. He will be floating somewhere, maybe on Tennessee, maybe in Tennessee's roster or something. But Trey Lance may come out and just fucking ball his ass off and show he's still got a rocket of an arm, and he's still very mobile because he's young. He was doing that at North Dakota State. So it's the two major things are Jared doesn't want to seem like an idiot, because that's the biggest thing to Jerry is his ego. You cannot have a blow to Jerry's ego, and he's already had enough of that this season. And the second one is just the off chance that he is good. Then he's just, you're like, fuck, well, we had this the entire time. Like when Dak was playing bad, take him out, put Trey Lance in. So you won't see Trey Lance unless it's needed. Maybe in the fourth quarter when the game is 30-3. So that's about it.
My take on this is pretty generic. I don't understand that he's dressed every game. Trey Lance is dressed every game. He and Cooper Rush have both been dressing every single game on the sideline while Dak Prescott's the starter. My thought process is Jerry just gave up. I don't remember what the contract was, but now Dak Prescott's the second highest paid quarterback in football. I don't think he plays Trey Lance, because what if Trey Lance is better? What if Trey Lance comes out and manages the offense better than Dak Prescott? Yeah. What does that say about what you just did in the offseason signing Dak Prescott? It says that you have no idea what's going on in your locker room. And it shows the league that you have no idea what's going on in your locker room.
Yeah.
So that's
I will tell you, Trey Lance
that,
is not
though,
do
that let's say Trey Lance for the next 6 weeks comes out and just lights it up. You now have trade bait for.
That's why I would play him.
Yeah. Get the trade compensation if he plays well.
You can't trade him because the trade deadline's passed, and he's at the end of his contract this year.
Oh
yeah, makes it pretty easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a topic that's going to be hammered home here, I'm sure, next couple of weeks for my Dallas fans, especially if Cooper Rush comes out and does not play well. I'm not saying he will, but if he comes out and he doesn't play well for two games, we might see Trey Lance, but I doubt it. Moving forward, we're going to talk about the Jets visiting the Cardinals. Cardinals are home favorites at 1.5 points. 46 is the over-under. I'm the only one who took the Jets. They've been playing better. Aaron Rodgers is starting to look like he's starting for – I don't know why it took him so long to understand the Nathaniel Hackett offense, considering he created the Nathaniel Hackett offense. But, the Jets have just looked better. And while the Cardinals are hanging around and staying in games, I just think, the Jets realize that they need to get a playoff spot. And in order to get a playoff spot, you got to win games. So I've got the Jets. Bolton, go ahead.
Yep, I expect Aaron Rodgers to do everything he can. I expect Devontae Adams to have a touchdown this game. I expect both wide receivers to have 100-yard games. That's just going to happen. We are a defense that is incredibly physical and fast and terrible at covering. You can catch a 30-yard ball. It's going to happen, and then you're going to get rocked. And we've got to be top 10 in turnovers. We are damn good at punching the ball out and creating turnovers as a team that cannot cover the pass or the run for that matter. But we look really good. We didn't allow, for the last 6 quarters of football, we have not allowed down. So we've looked better on defense. Kyler Murray's getting right. James Conner in that running game is looking damn good. I think that if the game is close, I think the Jets will implode like they have been, and the Cardinals will come out and cover with a last-second field goal. 1.5, you might as well just take them to cover. There's no reason. You're basically just saying, oh, as long as it doesn't come down to a tie, 1.5 so low. So I think that it's probably going to be a last-second field goal. Little, Kyler Murray magic, and our kicker that we have has made 3 or 4 game-winning field goals this season alone. So I think we're going to try to keep that up. And I just like the Cardinals. They're on a heater right now. They know that they're going to have to keep winning ball games because if this 49ers team gets healthy now, they are, only a game and a half behind, and the Cardinals need to keep winning in order to hold that spot because there will be no wild card coming out of the NFC West, considering all of the wild card spots that are getting eaten up by the NFC North.
It's fair. Gucci.
Yeah, man, I chose Cardinals not to cover, so that's a hedge bet because I think this is anybody's game, especially with the spread being 1.5, Cardinals being at home. I kind of do expect the Jets to win. So if the Jets win, I go 1-1, for their records. It would be cool to go 2-0 for that, that stat. But 1-1 is better than 0-2. And I chose the over just because, yes, Bolton, you did say the Cardinals have not allowed a touchdown the last 6 quarters. They played the Bears, who looked god awful the last 3 weeks.
What about the Dolphins? We played them too. They didn't score in the second half of that game.
That's fine. You had a good second half of that game. Congrats. I don't think for the over, over being 46.5, I don't think, 30-27 is crazy for a Cardinals game. Cardinals play good teams well. They can put up points. Kyler didn't have to do much last week. If you look at his
points.
Yeah, he didn't have to do anything.
15 times. I think he was 11 or 8 or something for 15 and like 150 yards. That was it. The rest was just all ground game.
Yep. So expect the Jets defense to key on it. We talked about it earlier in the week on Wednesday that, they're not going against Caleb Williams this week. They're going against one of the better quarterbacks. You should expect him to say that, and Aaron Rodgers in the league.
He's going to dissect that defense.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yeah. Took the words out of my mouth just now. I was just about to say that. I think this is a very high scoring affair. If the Cardinals win, I think it's going to be, it's going to be like a 21-24 or 21-23 situation. They kick a field goal, they cover type of thing, or they don't cover. The Jets being not covering, but I feel like this is going to be way more of a high scoring affair than it is going to be, the low 20s, close game type of thing.
All right.
So,
no, I like it. I don't know. I got the gut feeling, I got that gut feeling.
I will refuse to bet on the Jets for or against them. They always do whatever in the hell
opposite.
I don't put it on. I refuse.
Well, if they win this week, you can say that trend continues.
Exactly. The Jets hate me. I refuse to even mention their name on our betting show on Friday because they do the exact opposite of what everybody else thinks what's going to happen.
It's true. Next, we have the Sunday night football game. We have the Lions visiting the Texans. Lions on the road are favorites by 3.5 points. 49.5 is the over-under. All three of us took the Lions. All three of us have different secondary stuff. Bolden, you can go first.
Lions. I've said it week in, week out. Best team in the NFL. Not even close. This team is just a fucking powerhouse. They have 2 awesome running backs back there. Jared Goff is completing over 80% of his passes. They just move. It doesn't matter how you want to lose by. They will give you whatever you want. If you can try to stop the run, okay, we'll hit you with play action and in routes all game, and we're not going to throw incompletions. The defense is stepping up. The defense is playing considerably better than they did the first 3 games of the season. So now they're locking people down. They don't even get sacks. They're one of the bottom 10 teams in the league in terms of sacks, and they still are blowing people out. That is just a testament to how they are coached and what this team is doing. And it's a fun thing to watch because it reminds you of the 90s Cowboys, where they can beat you a million different ways and nobody on that defense is a superstar. There were no Pro Bowlers in the 90s for the Cowboys, and they still were an awesome defense, and their offense was unstoppable.
Gucci.
Damn, man, you took the words out of my mouth. I went with the under here. We know about the Lions, so I don't have to harp on the Lions any more than Bolton just did. So for those exact same reasons, I'm going to talk about the Texans. The Texans have not looked good offensively with Nico Collins being out. I think he is playing this week, so there is that.
Yeah.
But I coming from a hamstring injury, as someone who has torn their hamstring before and like have injured it multiple times, it's not a fun injury to come back from. It's definitely not something you can. Oh my God, another fumble.
I think it was an incomplete pass.
Yeah, I looked up and I saw the ball just.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
But so I don't expect him to have a great day. I do foresee him having 10-yard catches here and there. Nico Collins, that is. We have yet to see Tank Dell at all this year, really. So outside of CJ Stroud, yeah, he's a good quarterback. I think we can all agree he's a good quarterback. He's just going through a sophomore slump again, or as most good sophomore quarterbacks go through. I just don't see them covering.
Oh
Jesus Christ, dude!
Ole Miss recovered.
I love this. This is good for my money. And like last week, the Lions played the Packers in Green Bay. And it was a 3-point spread, same type of spread, like 3.5 spread, and everyone was high on the Packers to cover. I think the Packers Texans are closer to each other than the Lions Texans are. So I think this is going to be a fucking 10-point plus victory for the Lions, and compile that with the Texans not being able to get their offense together, taking under.
No, yeah, good analysis by both of you. Good, or Bolton already said it. The Lions are the best team in football right now. They just are. And the Texans haven't impressed me as Gucci's. You guys took everything. I don't have anything to say.
We're just that good.
Yeah.
We're just that good.
No.
We're just that good.
Listen, I've been saying it for 3 years since we've been doing the podcast. I love Dan Campbell, and that team like embodies his personality as a whole. The defense loves to get big hits and create turnovers. The offense finds ways to be successful. Jared Goff is on a run in the last 6 games where he has more touchdown passes than incompletions.
Yeah.
Think about that stat right now. 6 games, more touchdown passes than incompletions. The team is going to beat you each and every way possible just because they can. And at times this season, it looks like they're literally just fucking with other teams. Letting David Montgomery throw a touchdown, letting Sam Laporta do a flea flicker. Like this,
trying to get Penei Sewell a fucking touchdown.
Dude, the 3 attempts to get linemen to score after last year's game against the Cowboys is hilarious.
And guess what? The fucker still couldn't do it. The fucker still couldn't do it.
Though. They're like, we're gonna beat the fuck out of you, but we're gonna do everything we can just to troll.
they are literally trolling teams right now. They're that freaking good. So I took the no cover because they're in Houston, simply because Houston might surprise you in Houston. But I don't care who the Lions are playing right now. I don't care who they're playing. I'm taking the Lions every single time until somebody shows me they can stop them. Cut and dry.
Chiefs can.
Refs can.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like you're really good friends with Kent Brent here.
Well, he's my dad, so that checks out.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football, we have the Dolphins visiting the Rams. The Rams are 2.5-point favorites at home. 50.5 is the over-under. I don't think these teams get to 50 points. I just don't. The Dolphins, even with Tua back, haven't looked super explosive. It looks like he's definitely trying to find his way, get his groove back. And the Rams have looked better. And to your point about the Cardinals having to win games, the Rams know if they're going to make the playoffs, they got to continue to win games, right? Like they're in a win now just as much as any other team in the NFL because Stafford is not getting younger. Also, Sean McVay, really, he's a good coach. He comes out with great game plans against any team that he faces. I don't think Tua is going to be able to gain any momentum in this game. I don't think he's going to look super comfortable in the pocket at any given time. I've got the Rams. Not to cover, simply to hedge my bet. I know it sounds like crap that we do that. We hedge our bets with the no cover, but that's how I feel about it. And I've got the under because I just don't think they get to 50.5. Gucci.
So I went Dolphins under here. So, I mean, I'm sure the plus money isn't too much. But my thing is, I talked about it last night and on Wednesday. I think Bolton and I were in agreement with the Dolphins and what their season has to be like in order to compete for the playoffs. Because the Dolphins roster is built to go into the playoffs. Yes, they've had a rough start with Tua being out for a prolonged period of time with the concussions. But if you remember this time last year, I mean, Dolphins had a little bit better of a record this time last year, but they went on a run and like almost won every game until the end of the season. And I expect the Dolphins to put it back together. This is more so of what's expected of or from me to the Dolphins offense. They did just get back. Oh boy, the corner. What's his name?
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey just coming back. You know, he moves the needle for me on defense. You know, having a shutdown corner like that is still a big impact when you're taking out one of
kind of knowing the Rams offense. You kind of
Yeah.
know what's coming.
Yeah.
You play against Cooper Kupp every day, or he did.
Yeah. So this is more so on the Dolphins needing this win more than I feel like the Rams do. I mean, the Rams are there. You did say they also are scraping for wins. But I feel like if the Dolphins lose this game, the season is over. They just have no chance. Kind of sort of like a Cincinnati type of feel to them. So I this is more on me just riding the Dolphins to win 6 out of the last 7 games. So that's why I went. And then the under 51 is a lot of points to get to. So I just wanted the under with that one.
Bolton.
Yeah, I took the over here and I took the Fins straight up because I believe that this will be Tua's 3rd week back into the offense with game time reps. This offense is built around timing. You were throwing the ball before the receiver even breaks on the route, so it's very hard to get in those rhythms. I think 3 weeks into it, though, Tua is getting comfortable again. He looked a little better last week than he did against the Cardinals, and I think this week he's coming back. He's going to be full strength, and I expect this team to explode. I expect the Fins to put up 30, 35 points, realistically. So I think with that, Fins are going to win outright, and I expect this game to be very high scoring.
Wanted to get the standings on the screen there. I'll talk about them real quick. Joey is in first at 232 and 182. And in last place is Monty at 217 and 197. I moved up a spot this week. I had a pretty decent week last week. Yeah. Not very good at the over-under. I think I only got 5 right on the over-under last week, so that's not impressive. However, my straight-ups, I only got 2 wrong.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a good week there. But, yeah, so that's going to do it. You guys got anything else you want to add?
A couple of weeks ago, I got pretty close to breaking your record, if I'm not mistaken, for most correct.
Oh, yeah.
Two
You're
weeks
like at
ago,
30.
right?
Yeah.
You're like at 30-something.
I had 31 correct, so last week was a down week for me, but we'll be back. We'll be back.
Can I say something about the Eagles organization on the Eagles podcast? The Eagles owned podcast?
Yeah, you want to come on Tuesday?
No, right now. I'm saying like the owners are Eagles fans. Like I don't know if I should say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a hate one. I don't know.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Nick Sirianni is a terrorist.
Thank you. I feel so good to say. So good to say.
I don't elaborate.
Look at him. He's an awful head coach, an awful human being, a fucking dick bag to everyone that's not in the Eagles organization. Even the Eagles fans. Even the Eagles fans. He's chirping at him. You're beating a shit team. You turn around. Fuck you. Look at me. I barely won this fucking game.
Against the Browns.
Yeah. And you're lucky you signed Saquon. Like the best free agent signing in the last fucking 20 years.
Oh, I don't disagree with that at all.
And that wasn't anything of him doing. That was just like, hey, Saquon, I'll come to a better team. Okay, here we go. Now he is that offense for the most part. He has won you. I can count. He has won you at least 4 games alone.
Okay, so the Eagles have 6 wins this year. Prior to the 6 wins that the Philadelphia Eagles had this year and the 2 losses, Nick Sirianni was 31 and 17. The dude wins.
Terrorist.
It's who he is. It's his attitude. It's what makes him like what he is in Philadelphia. Listen, I'm not for the chirping at fans. I don't like that at all. I think you need to keep your fucking mouth shut when it comes to the fans, especially since they're there to support you. If they're chirping your ear off about not running the fucking football, too fucking bad. You're the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Fucking deal with it. So I don't like the chirping at the fans. But the dude wins.
He's just like a very unlikable person. This isn't coming from like the Cowboys like fan in me.
No,
I swear to God.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I totally get it.
Yeah, mine's right. So he's just like a fucking like you look at him, you're like, dude, this dude's a fucking dick. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of times Eagles fans are like, do we fucking hate this guy? There's got to be some discourse there, like between Eagles fans and like, your feelings towards Sirianni.
There is a very see. Here's the thing, and I don't know what other fan bases are like because I'm an Eagles fan. Eagles fans will call you the fuck out. Like we have zero problem saying you're fucking up. Like I don't care who you are or what you're doing. This is my team. This is my city, and you're fucking it up. And Eagles fans have no problems with that. Obviously, mentally, he can't handle that. Like, and that's just the reality of the situation. Now, I'm not going to say he's a terrorist because I don't think he's a terrorist.
I do.
But
worse for Hamas.
Oh my God, we're gonna get canceled. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So yes, there is some animosity there, but if he keeps winning, I got news for him. If you're listening, Nick Sirianni, if you keep winning while we're chirping at you, that only gives us the fuel to keep fucking chirping at you. So like, be ready for it. He's winning because of the talent on the team. Tim Hawkins, I do not disagree with you. However, we also rip apart Jalen Hurts in every single show that we do. Like, it's a situation where, again, we are honest. Most of us, not all Eagles. There are some fucking idiots out there. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm part of the fan base. I can openly admit there are stupid Eagles fans. But for the most part, those of us who are educated and know how to talk about sports understand that Jalen Hurts, especially at the beginning of the year this year, right, and at the end of last year, played like shit. Let's cut and dry, right? Played like hammered dog shit. And they lost because of it. So, yes, I do agree that they're winning. Nick Sirianni has a winning record because of the talent that he has on the football team, and that's a lot to do with Howie Roseman. But he's still winning. When you're looking at Bill Belichick, up until Tom Brady was gone, you weren't saying, oh, Bill Belichick only won because of Tom Brady. Everybody was saying Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches of all time because he was doing what he was doing. So, yes, the Eagles have the talent. I'm not saying Nick Sirianni is Bill Belichick. Holy shit, please don't ever think that I'm quoting that statement. But until he starts being a losing coach, especially if the Eagles fans are chirping at him, until he starts being a losing coach, the Eagles fans are going to continue to chirp at him because they think it's what's working.
So I put it into words. Like this is like what 3 years, however long he's been the coach. I put it into words on why I do not like the man. All right, take away the coach, take away the Eagles, take away everything out of it. I don't like him because he is a terrible winner. Yes, to your point, he does win games. 31-17. Prior to prior to Saquon. He is a terrible winner. He chirps at people. You're the fucking head coach of an NFL organization. You shouldn't be doing that.
I'm with you.
He is a worse winner or a worse loser. I'm sorry. You get him losing and he's just like, oh, I'm not talking. I'm not saying much. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And there's a point where I get it, where like that's that Philly culture where you're like we're Philly, like this is what we do, like we're assholes and blah blah blah. He takes that to like a different level where you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that in your organization. I mean, and the fact that it's fucking Philly for me, it makes it even worse. But just overall, I'm like, dude, like you look at his mannerisms, you look at he's fucking taunting on the sideline. You have Jalen Hurts pulling his arm down during the Super Bowl. You have just things like that aren't becoming of a head coach that I hate even more. So that he's, part of the Eagles organization. And I think he gets a lot of credit for the wins that really shouldn't be because of him.
And that's a fair assessment of it. Now, word out of Philly, word out of the locker room is that players do love him. So he's a player's coach. And
it's the same thing with Jonathan Gannon. He's actually a good guy. But he's a fucking cornball when he talks. But the players love him for some reason.
Yeah, and it's. I think I was saying it a lot last year. I haven't said it at all this year. And the more I think about it, I see Sirianni more as of a mascot than a head coach. And like, yes, it's a joke. Yes, but like think about it, he's a hype man. Like I don't think he calls plays. Does he? Does he call plays? I think
He
that's just
still
what
is in on the play call. I kind of wish he wouldn't, but he is still technically in on some play calls. But no, for the most part, it's like a 90-10% Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like
he
so
only
like
used to
my
call
whole
plays 4th and 1.
Yeah.
yeah
He
yeah
gets- he
fourth
gets to call those
fourth and
plays.
inches fourth and inches. That's just my thing. It's just like to me, I don't think he brings value to the Eagles organization. Like I feel like you can have the same success with any head coach, better or worse. I feel like you'd have the same type of season you're having. So like couple that with just a terrible personality outside of the Eagles organization, terrible to your own fans that are also assholes. And he's just part of the Eagles organization, which I also hate even more.
I think that I know you're trying to be objective here, and I appreciate the shit out of it. I think that is still holding a little bit on for you. It's making it worse. Like all the stuff that you're saying is making it worse because he's an Eagles.
Well,
Eagles
yeah, it's gonna make it worse naturally for me.
But I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
I don't like that he chirps at fans. I really wish he would not be chirping at his own fans. Like, listen, if you're away and the away fans are giving you shit, like fine, whatever, fire back.
Yeah.
But you should not be chirping at your own fans. That's the fast track to no longer being the head coach in Philadelphia, regardless of what your record is, because Jeffrey Lurie don't play that shit. Like he's not an idiot. He realizes these people pay money, good money, to come and watch our football team. They're the reason I'm a billionaire. You're not going to chirp at them, cut and dry. And I couldn't help but notice he hasn't done it since the one incident in the Browns game, right? Like he hasn't done it since. So somebody sat him down.
Oh yeah. And it's just the mannerisms like of the dude. Like you go in for a touchdown from a tush push from the fucking inch-yard line. You turn around, look at the camera, and you're nodding your head. And you're like, "I did that shit." I'm like, "You didn't do anything." Like
your quarterback who squats 600 pounds did that.
Yeah, like
And even that's not looking very good the last couple of weeks.
Just last week against the Jaguars, they stopped at 4 different times on fourth down. So I mean, hey, look, credit to Doug Peterson and the Jaguars for figuring out a way to stop it. But all 4 times that they ran it, Saquon Barkley was not on the field. So they're saying that because Barkley's additional 600-pound squats were not helping Jalen over the line, they think that's what that was. Also, and listen, I like Cam Jurgens. He's proven to be a good starting center in football. He is not Jason Kelce.
I mean, you're not going to get a Jason Kelce.
Correct.
Ever.
Yeah. And also, not downplay Jurgens. Like Jurgens has been a really good dude.
Yeah, I'm not trying to downplay him at all.
But it just is not a first ballot Hall of Famer that Kelce is going to be.
Yeah.
Correct.
Also, I like to address this. We can get rid of Sirianni. I can't get rid of Jerry Jones. Fun fucking fact. I am leading an insurrection at the Star on January 5th. All right. If you would like to be there, I am. I'm leading it. All right?
Cool.
On the 5th.
An insurrection on the 5th, not the 6th, the 5th.
Yeah, can't get tied into the 6th.
You can't get tied into the 6th. I'm leading my own insurrection. We are taking over the Star, and we're getting Jerry Jones, his desk, out of there. So, if there's any Cowboys fans, hit me up on X, and I'll add you to the list.
I'm not going to be a part of overthrowing anything.
I have a hard time remembering that it's called X and not Twitter. I mess up a lot.
It felt wrong saying X.
It's right. It doesn't flow.
They still say you're tweeting on X.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Am I Xing? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
That's why it's like, oh, it's X now. It's like, yeah, but what are you doing when you send something out? You're tweeting,
posting,
right? You're retweeting.
Posting.
You're doing all this. Like,
it's posting, reposting. That's what it is. If you look at when you're doing it, it says post and repost.
Can't change my mind.
Well, I don't like it. Either way.
Fuck you, Elon.
But no, that's going to do it for Bolton. You got anything you want to say?
Nope. No,
cool.
I don't care about
Thanks for joining me, boys. I really appreciate you since Jake canceled on me last second. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's almost like this is becoming a trend.
No, I like doing I do like doing the Saturday shows. I occasionally want a Saturday off because it's my only day off for my other 2 jobs. So
yeah,
occasionally I want a day off. But no, it's good to also get like a mix of people in here because you can kind of the way you guys break games down is different than the way I break games down and different than Ryan breaks games down. And I like to hear all the differences and the nuances. And I really like that. So I appreciate you guys getting on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
But so that's going to do it for us here on BSing Sports, part of the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Thanks and have a great night.